Good afternoon, a pleasant welcome to those of you just joined the broadcast.
I'm going to show this that Reggie just made about becomes collective. What I mean is that you be powerful, brilliant, brilliant people in this country. I brought you here. Not because I wanted, but I never had what it takes to carry you. Let's watch it. Slowly, slowly, baby. Slowly, darling. Got it. Got it? I'm not hearing you. I'm not trying to explain what I don't know. Good afternoon and a pleasant welcome to another interesting edition of the program, Nothing to Hide on Sky 107.1. Today is the 5th of July 2021. My name is Matthias Lavindi. And this afternoon, we do not have a specific guest. We're going to be talking about a variety of things about Liberia, issues that we usually sometimes ignore, our responsibility, citizens' responsibility to the fight against COVID-19. and some, little things that matter that we're just going to highlight and maybe read a few articles and give you an opportunity as well to participate in the program this afternoon. I'll be right back after this break. Asia. This is Nothing to Hide on Sky 107.1. And we are here every day, Monday to Friday, by the way, Monday to Friday, every weekday, Monday to Friday, 7 to 9 o'clock. That's in the morning, straight from the heart. And in the afternoon, we bring you Nothing to Hide, and that runs from 3 to 4 o'clock. Can we have a little, self or soul session conversation this afternoon? Yeah, let's try that. A soul session conversation in that you will blame yourself for what you have not done, for what you are failing to do, and at the same time, you recommend. Can you do that? Well, okay, Matthias, to me, I feel guilty that yes, I'm not observing the COVID-19 protocol. At some point, yes, yesterday I did this. Is it possible for people to do that? Like some of us get on the radio sometimes, it gets really tough, not really tough, right? But it gets to a point where people expect nothing but truth from us. So, of course, all the time, that's what people expect. But at this point, you're sitting behind a mic and you must tell the truth. So you tell the people that, well, at some point I did X, Y, Z and all of that. Can you tell us this afternoon, at some point, at what point in time, have you maybe come in contact with maybe the security and deviated from, the COVID-19 protocol? So I don't know the mandate given to the members of the armed forces of Liberia, for which I'm not seeing this headline. I'm going to read a story entirely from the New Dawn newspaper, that the armed forces of Liberia is fully ready to ensure that COVID-19 is kicked out of Liberia. And what that means is that those of you who do not respect the COVID-19 protocol, you're going to just have yourself to be blamed. Now, let me give you a few things I've observed. What I've observed is that few things I have observed, right? This morning, while on 50/50, got a text message from, two unknown individuals on, numbers that I don't have saved in my phone. Well, said, well, we like the fact that you guys you are balanced, you're in the middle there on both sides. And that's the reason why I have people hating me from both ends. I don't have too many friends from both ends. I don't have too many enemies from both ends. So sometimes somebody will say, well, what's the need? That guy will certainly come across someday and say something positive about us. So there's no need for us to go after him because he said something bad today. Something that we see to be bad, but what he said is true, right? So, like I said, that a neighbor of mine contacted the Liberia National Police. I was sitting right there. The fellow made a call to 4455. I want to say to the incident management system, that 4455 line, few things I've observed. Remember when I said to you that little things that matter, little things that are maybe affecting people that people are not reporting. Chester Smith or anyone from the incident management, if you're following, let me tell you a few things I have noticed about the hotline, that 4455. So a friend of mine placed a call right before me, right? I'm sitting right there. He placed a call. I said, can you put the phone on speaker so I can listen to the conversation? I said, yeah, sure, Matthias, sure. Around 9:45, around 9:45 or 10. So he placed the call, and this lady, in fact, in the first place, they assure you that your call is not going to last. You're not going to stay on the line for about 2 hours before someone picks your call. which is wrong. Most of the time, you stay on the line for several, not hours and minutes, right? You stay on the line for several minutes before someone picks a call and then talk to you. But during that process, even up to the time the call is picked, I believe that there are some questions that are irrelevant. Yeah, and this is where sometimes I feel that those of you who just misuse words on media practitioners, you just do it insincerely because you don't know what we go through. I'm a journalist, like many other journalists out there. My duty as a journalist, get the information, bring it here. If for any reason somebody, right, is in charge of this particular area, and I need to communicate that information to the people. If that person is not doing their job, what do you think I should come on the radio to say to the people? What do you think I should say to the people on the radio? It's going to be difficult, right? So it is at that time, journalists are humans. They get emotional too, or we get emotional too, right? So if the man tries repeatedly to talk to government officials, to talk to people, relevant authorities, to comment on particular things, some other journalists wouldn't control their emotions, that thinking that, well, this profession is a noble profession. There's no need for me to get emotional and get on the air and start making some statements that are not proper. So if I do it again, it is when sometimes you see some guys who get on the video and start blasting and say you're not working and all of that. So I was saying something about a friend of mine who placed a call to 4455. So a few things I noticed about that line. I don't know whether it's an automated system that you have questions line up, and your people, the people responsible to respond to that particular line, should be able to ask all the questions that you give them. But I believe some of the questions are irrelevant. For example, what if I were to call you in the middle of the night, or maybe around 10, 11 o'clock, gone home, community at that time was a bit quiet. In less than no time, a few young people came into the community. They decided to organize a quick party, right? And I know that these young people are people who are troublesome people in the community. But I want to place this call, right? I want to place this call and give you the information based on anonymity. Is it possible for someone to place a call on the hotline and give anonymous information and get information based on anonymity? Anonymous information, by the way. And get information based on anonymity? Is it possible? For example, okay, I call Sky from Sky FM. I have this information, but I don't want you to mention my name. What I noticed in this environment, this point to that point, from this point to that point, is because this is happening, that is happening, that is happening. Is it possible for you to investigate? If Sky FM is interested in that particular information, why not Sky goes in there right away to investigate that information? Since it is Sky FM's responsibility to ensure that information is that information are provided to the public, right? And at the same time, they should come with factual information, not just rely on what someone says on the line. In this case, this brother placed a call to 4455 in my presence, and a lady got on the line. Hello. Immediately, the fellow called his name. Say, my there's a phone call, so I want to mention my name and tell the person to not quote me at any point in time. I know the guys in there, maybe they are trained that they should not give any information about those who call them to provide information. But the issue of age now, I think every information, the basic question should be, for example, hello, where you call us from? The person give their location. Secondly, maybe the person's name. What is the issue? The person give the issue. Every information should require specific questions. I will not be calling you, giving you information about what is happening in my community. But you're asking me for my age, my birthday, the year, and month as well. Was that necessary? I said, I witnessed that. I listened to that. Yeah, I was sitting by a fellow, he placed a call, and this young lady is asking him on the phone, how old are you? I know the reason why you ask for age, if the person is asking you, maybe if the person is reporting on a particular issue, like health-related issue, oh, I'm not well, I'm not feeling well, and so the person is saying directly they're not well. Then maybe you want to know the age of the person so you can know how to approach the issue. But when somebody is calling you to say to you that XYZ thing is happening in my community. What do you have to do with their age? Sometimes the person's name is not even necessary because the issue of trust comes in. This is a fight. We are all doing it. So I want to start with that first, right? I'm starting with that to say that if you're that person, if you are one of those who's sitting in a control system, control room, and you are picking up calls, interacting with people, are there specific questions lined up and given to those responding, the respondents, those who are responding to the calls of various, individuals placing calls on the hotline 4455? I know if I open the lines right now, there'll be many people who will call in and say, Matthias, I place a call to that number. This morning, a fellow called in and said he tried calling the police numbers that Moses Carter announced. No one has picked his call. As a hotline, there must be people there seated and prepared to respond to that line, most especially during this emergency time. Even the 2-minute time given that, all right, and someone is going to get to you. Well, I respect the fact that sometimes people can be on the line for some time. Okay, 2 minutes not bad. Someone can stay on the line waiting for 2 minutes until that call can come in. That the person responding to the call can pick the call and finally respond to that person on the line. But what are the basic questions? Not everyone is calling to report themselves. Some people are calling to report a situation in the community. What specific questions do you have? Should you ask all of the questions on your list? Like, what's your name? How old are you? What do you, okay, your location, of course, you got to give the location that this particular thing is happening. When my colleague asked, my friend, my community neighbor, right, asked this lady on the phone, why are you asking me all these questions? The lady said, sometimes we can experience prank calls. That's the reason why I want to get the basic information. So then I whisper, ask the lady on the phone. By asking the question, does it mean she's not speaking to the actual individual, not a prank? This is not a prank call. Can she verify whether this call is a prank call by all the questions she's asking? He asked the question. The lady said, "Oh well, we just have to get the information. Whether we're talking to the record person or not, we just have to talk to get the information to ensure that we store it in the data, because that's the only way we're going to be able to make a report. So it's all about report. It's not about the urgency. So if you kept me on the line, okay, if you for example, I place a call to you, and you keep me on the line for some time, like 2, 3, 4, 5 hours or minutes, and I'm a basic person. Some people will place a call thinking that they're doing you a favor, with the notion that I'm doing the government a favor to report this particular thing. It's none of my business to place this call. I'm not involved in it. I'm calling to report to the government. So what situation should you ask specific questions? If like I said earlier, if someone says, I am not well, I'm feeling this kind of way, maybe that person needs to answer some questions about their age and how many people have taken, maybe some other questions can be asked. But when someone called, and this fellow called, basically he wanted to provide information regarding this large gathering in the community. But he tried and tried and tried, nobody showed up. Guess what he said to me? Now I've given up. I will never place a call to this 4455, where the guys in the control room there, the 4455, they did well to at least connect me with the LMP, the Liberal National Police. But nobody showed up. This whole program went on, and the people left to enjoy themselves. They went by the businesses. Nobody troubled them. Nobody asked them any question. This is unfortunate. That guy got disappointed. Like the fellow who called on this morning, he got disappointed that he has called the police line, the police hotlines, is yet to get any response. That's a little thing. It sounds little, but it matters. There are many things happening in certain people are trying to reach out to the to the relevant authorities. They're not getting these people. They are probably basic for them, too basic for them, or they are not proactive, or maybe they're asking them irrelevant questions. I call you to give you information. You're asking me, how old are you? All right. How old are you? Sometimes the children can call. Children can call to provide information. Then that's why you should have communicators in that particular room. Real communicators. Calm talking people. People who are able to persuade you to you don't want to say it. All right. If you're angry, they can calm you down. You should have more communicators in that room so that they can properly interact with people daily. Let's move on to another side of the thing. While that is something that is in the interest of the citizens, there are many of you now who are listening. Some of you have not even placed a call to 4455, but you're calling to lie. Maybe some of you, I'm not saying every one of you, some people who are unscrupulous in their thoughts may just call in and say, yes, Matthias, I placed a call at some point and this and that. If you're sincerely calling and reporting it, I'm not referring to you, right? But deep down in your heart, if you're lying about it, you're the one I'm referring to. So that is one side where maybe someone is smiling and saying, yes, this guy has just nailed it. But let me put it to, let me take it from another angle too. Just this morning, after the 50-50 show, and I worked out, they were sitting, the 3 officers or 4, right? They were right before Sky FM, monitoring people passing through, ensuring that they put on their nose mask, so that they, that's the basic thing and all of that. There's this young man who showed up before the guys, and he insisted his mask. Let me demonstrate that. He had his mask on here. That's beneath his lips, right here. He had his mask on there, and the police officer said, "Please put that mask on properly." He refused. He said he wouldn't do it until the police can beat him. Now, there's some of you, so I immediately call the officer. I say, "Officer, can you come?" One of the officers, I call him on the side. I say, "Sorry, from what I'm looking at, that guy knows exactly what he's doing. He's looking for attention. Would you guys allow him to walk? I mean, maybe just delay him a little bit. Not walk. I didn't say that. Can you guys delay him a little bit? Because he's the one that has somewhere to go to. You don't have anywhere else. You are assigned here. Can you delay him until he can adhere to what you guys are saying to him?" But the emotion he's expressing right now, if you react, it's going to be reported that the police have started brutalizing people. There are many of you out there in the street behaving very reckless and irresponsible about the fight against this COVID-19. You are ignoring all of the protocols. You are ignoring the fact that you're supposed to wake up in the morning, and when you step out in some places, you have to release you have to ensure that you work on observe social distancing, observe a number of things, observe all of the health protocols set aside by government. But when you get out, because you feel that the media is polarized, you feel that the media is polluted, that everything that is seen in the newspaper, not everyone that has the time to sit down and analyze what led to this thing and all of that. For what I witnessed this morning, if that guy was flogged by the police, I would have reported, yes, the police flogged this fellow, but this guy provoked his flogging. Okay? Because he was asked right before us, put your mask on properly. He said no. In fact, he was suggesting to the officer what to do to him. He said what? He said, "You have to beat me before I put it on." So meaning he wanted some kind of commotion. There are so many people out there who get out today and they're only looking for something to clinch on. They are angry. They are bitter for several reasons. People are angry. The country, when I look around, there are a lot of angry voices, right? There are a lot of angry voices. Every time you open the lines, you discuss serious issues of national concern. The next thing is that people calling, they're angry. Why wouldn't people be angry? You're talking about COVID-19 now. Yesterday, we experienced the first variant. Till today, there has been no account where the people stopped the rise and everything they collected in the name of stimulus package. People will certainly be angry. People will be adamant on obeying the preventive measures set aside, regarding the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. People will raise their concerns. People will say, well, for me, I am not talking about this. I am not taking vaccine. For me, I am not doing this. For me, I am not going to wear those masks in the street. For me, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do this and this and this and that. These things will be said by people because maybe for some frustration, government has not done much. Government has not given me this. What should I even allow someone to come and dictate to me what to do? And the guy said, he asked the officers, "Are you going to force me to wear the mask in my presence, in the presence of several others, right before Sky? Are you going to force me to wear the mask?" I was like, yeah, this thing is serious. Already, we don't have enough vaccine in the country. Then again, citizens are giving the security difficulty in adhering to preventive measures. Let me take it from another angle. Well, this is where, by the grace of God, some people feel relaxed in their hearts that yes, when we're talking to and we'll bring it from different angles and we'll present it to them, they find it difficult to criticize. There are even officers, there are still some officers who think that because they are officers and they have worked the whole day, they should make their way home to whatever means. So if they see a tricycle, the one we call keke, if they see a tricycle and the rider is sitting alone, but he already has his two passengers at the back, probably looking at the faces of the passengers, no one will allow that officer to sit with by them in that keke, regardless of the fact that he's an officer. But that officer will just start the keke and say, "Man, me see by you." And the young rider, most of the guys who ride in the keke, the tricycles, are young people. That young rider will just say, "Okay, say by me, officer, I can carry you," because he feels protected by that officer. And you officers too need to consider that if you are a law enforcement officer, you should need to do that. If you notice lately, I'm coming home, I'm coming here sometimes 10, 15 minutes late, 20 minutes late, because the back riders most of them are stubborn people. Sometimes you engage one, you say, like the guy who brought me this morning. He delayed repeatedly. I said to him, "Brother, you have to take me. You're not going to take another passenger." He said, "The reason why I've not taken another passenger is because I've not gotten one." I said, "Really?" Then I said to him, "Okay, if you get a passenger, I'm going to get down from the back. But when I get down, I'm not going to pay you. I'm going to get another bar or get to town. You will follow me to town for your money, the distance you've covered." And say, "Bravi, I said, I want to get happy about one CA." I said, "Okay, I like the challenge." Fortunately, he did not get another passenger. So both the citizens, I mean, ordinary citizens, the security, and even programs, at various programs, I spoke about funeral homes in the country, how people go to remove the remains of their loved ones. 20 persons are allowed in, but outside is a stock pile, or maybe a pool of crowd of people just line up there. A pool of people line up right there. So, these things are very important. I'm going to ask you a question before I open the lines, right? But while moving on to that, we also look at the fact that now this afternoon, we saw that some students from the Student Unification Party appear at the Capitol building. For them, they said one of their veterans was being confirmed at the Capitol by the senators. So therefore, they want to show solidarity. So sometimes I want to ask our young brothers, how do we think before we act? Do we look at the environment? Do we look at the timing? Do we observe timing in our actions? Well, we make a lot of mistakes because we're driven by first thought, not second thought. Your veteran is being confirmed at the Liberian Senate. So what? Does it mean COVID-19 does not exist anymore? Some folks from the militants from the Student Unification Party besieged the ground of the Capitol, chanting battle cries in their numbers. Though they were all masked up, but they were breaching one or two protocols. Social distancing was now observed. Even the 20-person protocol in gathering was also now observed because there were more than 20. They are students of the University of Liberia from SUP, Student Unification Party. So you guys, let me put it this way here. You guys are students at that university. You guys, I know very well, are aware of the current situation in the country. You guys are aware of the current situation in the country. Yet, group all yourselves, all in the name of showing solidarity. Because one of your kind, or one of your veterans, was being confirmed by the Liberian Senate. So therefore, you have to go there at the Capitol building to show him some love, to show that, yes, the militants are around. But how about if you were to consider that, yes, there's COVID-19 in the country? So maybe we can stay right here at the UL campus, call a press conference, and then just speak to the media and tell the media about this veteran, how qualified he is, and so on. Just celebrate him there. That you don't have to group. It can, just 6, 7, or 8, 9 persons or 10 persons can address the media on that particular thing. You didn't have to go at the Capitol building, sitting there, chanting battle cries when we are talking about COVID-19. Just like the CDC Council of Patriots, who said they're going to besiege the airport when the Montreal Center is returning to the country. And they spoke like they are not aware that there's COVID-19 in the country. Yeah? So before I ask you the question, I quickly want to read this this story, just a few lines from this particular story. This one says, against violation of COVID-19, say, well, Liberian authorities set US 1,500 fine against violators. So this one is about, now we have, let me read a few lines. Liberian authorities have announced different categories of fines against violation of coronavirus measures, which include US 1,500 fine for non-compliant businesses and entities, and early 1,000 against individuals who are not masked. The regulation, which comes with an increased fine from the previous announced US 200 against businesses and entities, was made known by authorities representing the Ministry of Health, the LeBron National Police, and the Monrovia City Corporation during a press conference over the weekend that we know. All right, so Colonel Sibi said, while it's true that things are hard, such hardship will not make us compromise the safety of our people. That's Colonel Patrick Sudo. And what is Mayor Jefferson Koji saying? Mayor Jefferson Koji said, this amount is not intended to generate money for the government or to go after our people, but it's meant to secure the safety of our citizens. The Koji said, we hope that all these measures will happen in a great atmosphere. We call on the public to work with our team adequately for the good of all, so as together we can wipe COVID-19 out of Monrovia and our country. That's a good one. So it's everyone's business to ensure that we fight against COVID-19 in Liberia. So while that fight is ongoing, it is our responsibility to ensure that those who are breaching the protocols, if you're sitting right there in a keke, for example, why not say to that lady who is talking in your face without wearing her mask to put on her mask before talking to you? That wouldn't sound offensive. Hello, sister. Hello, brother. Would you mind putting on your mask before talking? Because this thing is real. Nobody should say, "Oh man, you my brother, man, COVID-19 is not real between us." No, it's possible. For the time you've not seen that brother, he has come in contact with several individuals, and by this time now, you are making yourself vulnerable to him. You may just fall prey to whatever he has contracted from other people. So this is not about friendship. It's not about anything. Musu Kopo said, no, sir, it is not police function to beat on citizens. If citizens are not following health guidelines, they need to be arrested and prosecuted, or better still, arrest and fine. There are already laws on the book. The officers need to fully implement the laws. Well, Musu, there's nowhere in my analysis I've mentioned that where someone should be beaten because they breach COVID-19 protocols. That's not what I'm calling for. I do not even support brutality or mob violence, brutality against people. Yeah, I don't support that. So it's not, that's not in my analysis. I didn't say that. What I'm saying, what I said in the case of the fellow who, just disrespected the police in our presence, that I just suggested to the officers, because I noticed the reaction, the way the officer was about to approach him and thing. And so I said, officer, it's possible you just keep that guy in there holding until you can put that mask on, and he passes you by. Then you people getting emotional. I know sometimes how you guys react. Now all of you are bad people. All of them understood me, and they actually at some point they had to let the guy go, right? Whether they let him go now or so on. But honestly, that guy was disrespectful to the police. and he acted like he was not living, he's not even living in the country. Now, the question I want to ask you now is that the police are out there, right? And they are telling you, put on your mask. Put on your mask. Wear your mask. Do this. Do that. And so on. But you think that what they're saying to you is not right, and you're feeling angry. So the police, the police are mild in their approach, mild, M-I-L-D. They're not really wild as compared to other people, right? Maybe the army will be wild because when they come out or when they are put out there, so I'm very sure at some point some of you will say, why are government beating on us? And some of us, by the grace of God, who are fighting very hard to maintain independence in this profession, when I come across you citizen who's misbehaving on a police officer, and that officer, that AFA officer, maybe when the army gets out and start to patrol communities and all of that, that AFA officer whipped you with a writing, with a whatever and thing, and then later transfer you. If it is a violation that should not beat on you, fine. We're going to talk about that. But we're not also going to mention our words. I'm talking about the fact that you disrespected the law set aside, which that officer came to implement. So we can't claim to be, blasting and every time blaming government and shouting at government, and we ourselves, we are irresponsible citizens. We don't see our irresponsible attitudes exhibited towards many national fronts, many national things that we should be engaging collectively. But every time we see, one thing we see, government this, government that. You start in your community, they put a susu club, and they took all the money they give it to you. You ate the money. You collected, you ate it, you ran away. That was not corruption. You didn't see that as corruption. But when you woke up one morning and heard the news that government, somebody, one minister stole 1 million, your life in the say, oh, well, I'm going on with my life and all of that. I like to go to bed and wake up in the morning, wake up in peace with a peace of mind. So because of that, I and go to bed in order for my family to eat. So I just mentioned about maybe someone putting susu, eating 20,000 or taking all the money and running away with it from their friends. That is not considered as corruption. And you consider all the big things. Now you want to get angry because of what I just said. Don't get angry. Think about it. Even you landlord. Yeah, let's put it that way. Yeah, nothing to hide. Nothing to hide here. Let's talk it that way. Yeah, you are a landlord or landlady. You have a house that you've not even completed fixing. You invited people to come and fix the house and move in. Fix the house. Your rent is going to come from the expensive you're going to make. This is why it's comical, right? Well, it's small, but it's very big. It's affecting peaceful coexistence in so many environments. The person came and fixed everything. After fixing everything, the amount the person spent extended their rent to 2 years or 3 years. Because you notice the place is fixed, you don't have the cash in your hands because the person spent everything on fixing the place. After 1 year, you say, listen, your family members are coming from out of town or abroad, they want to move in. So your family abroad, they didn't send money to fix the house. But the person who moves in the house, fix it, and now you want to remove them. Can we look at some of these things and consider these things as acts of corruption? Before we speak, there were some of us who place phone calls. I used to be a listener, remember now. I used to be a listener of radio stations, and sometimes I used to sit down in communities and hear people calling. And see, look at the man who's calling on radio. He's so dishonest like this. No, I'm not also saying that because you know that you are dishonest, you should not call on radio. But Liberia's problems, we need to all solve the problems collectively. Our leaders, they're not trusted because we ourselves, we're not trusted. You know the man is not competent, but you go on the radio and you praise the man. The man is the best person because of what you have gotten. You're forgetting about the interest of the entire country, and you're not pushing your personal interest. If that happens, if that guy becomes a terrible leader, you're going to go quiet because you have acquired what your family needs. It's not about our personal benefits. Everybody want to benefit somehow, directly. So, with all these things I've said, the question I want to ask you is that, would you prefer the army instructing you to observe the preventive measures against COVID-19, or you prefer the Liberal National Police that will be a bit lenient with you, but the army may not be lenient with you. Which one do you prefer? Let's hear you. Call us in the numbers 0777777 07777221223 0777777 07777221223 are the numbers you can call us on to participate on the program this afternoon. We are live on Facebook, Sky Communications Liberia, as well as on YouTube, Sky FM and TV Liberia. You can call us on WhatsApp, IMO, as well as Messenger, Sky Liberia. You'll be live on the program this afternoon. Which group of people would you prefer telling you to adhere to the preventive measures and any of the things I talked about? Let's hear from this person. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Hello. All right. So, yeah, let's hear you. Good afternoon. You're live. Go ahead. All right. I think that person line has frozen. Let's move on to this other person. Yeah, good afternoon.
Yeah, how are you?
Fine, thank you, sir. Let's hear you.
Yeah, my own contribution. My name is Isa Tanawali, calling from Looking Town Market.
Yeah, Looking Town. Let's hear you, sir.
Okay, my own contribution to what this program is for. The Liberians do not need any leniency. When it comes to the matter of enforcing the law, we have to do severely. It's not too respect. Thank you.
The brother is suggesting that the Liberians do not need any leniency. That's why I put forth to them two group of people that maybe they will prefer. They should choose for themselves. We didn't choose which group because I believe the army wouldn't take that thing from you, except that they are not instructed to do so. But they get out there to do their correct direct mandate. They whip you and you get out. If we all believe that COVID-19 is in the country and we do not have enough vaccines, what can help us? Continuous testing, observation of our people, washing of hands, and doing everything that we can to ensure that we get rid of this virus. Some of you are disrespecting the police, the security out there. So I'm asking you, would you prefer the army or the police? Let's hear from this other person. Good afternoon. All right, so Smith Dawiya said, most Liberians are very intransigent to obeying the law. The police has also lost their respect of Liberians as well. Well, the police did not just lose respect like that. So we have a nation where people work and don't get something. Some people just settle for it. Not everyone is patient, to be honest, all the time. Let's hear from this other person. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Pele.
Yeah, good afternoon to people.
Fine, thank you.
What I think, if the government of Liberia is serious, is to bring the military. So we interact on a daily basis with the police officer. So that they will mingle. We know them. We know their strengths and their weaknesses. But the military is very difficult way to see in the streets. So when they are out there, people feel more frightened and decide to obey the law as compared to without police officers enforcing the law. The military don't need rationing. We need to see them alone. We tell you that there's a leader you wear a nose mask. But people can challenge the police with all that rationing in their hands. They don't want to wear the mask. So I think we are serious. Let's bring the military to save the state. And they will not solve the problem in totality. I think the answer to the problem is for all of us as Liberians to realize actually what we are faced with. Because like some of us are not aware of what we are faced with. So once we are aware of what we are actually faced with, we think it is serious. Don't forget Ebola taught our lesson. When we realize what we are faced with, you saw the community in specific action. You will not end up in a community without washing your hands. In fact, we are lying in that community. So I think we need to be aware of what we are faced with and go start to be here in the country. Thank you.
That's right. I'm very sure that all of us who get on these platforms every day, we spend our time. Government is not giving us any subsidy. Government is not giving us anything whatsoever to do this awareness that we do on our various platforms. So if you people do not take the education we provide you, so the recommendation is out there. John T. Pele is saying, Mr. Pele is saying that the army should get out. The army should be the one now directing people, because to a large extent, people are disrespecting health protocols. Let me not forget to squeeze in something very important that's going on right now in the country. Let's hear from this other person first before I talk about it. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, sir. Let's hear you.
My name is Ranjoti. I call from District 9, Omatali.
Let's hear you, sir.
I prefer the army
Why?
because the army, they are strict people. When we see them,
Mm-hmm.
we call them Moko. When you see Moko in the street, you behave.
You know exactly what to do.
We know what to do, my guy.
I know.
Right now, if you go around the barracks to leave students, you can find one dead there, one platinum there. Because if they catch you, my guy, you don't pass that road. So I prefer the army to be in the street. So strip.
Video, this a journalist did from China during the start of the COVID-19, and his analysis, it was basically backgrounding some of the things that China did. China instituted some draconian measures. Those are measures that will even violate your human right. COVID-19 violated your human right. Ebola violated your human right. Though whether it's a man-made thing or it's a man-made thing or it's a natural thing, but even your right as a person, COVID-19 has violated. It's your right to breathe freely. But now you have a mask on, right? It is your right to hug your friend, to move around and mingle with your neighbors, right, with your colleagues. But the guidelines put aside by COVID, by the health authorities in the fight against the COVID-19 are that please keep a distance, social distancing. These are comments or recommendations coming from pieces of advice coming from international health authorities, the World Health Organization, CDC, and so on. Let's hear from this other person. I'm going to end that thought. Hello.
Good afternoon, Mattia. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you.
Thank you so much for the topic on the discussion. We have to follow the government protocol, isn't it so?
Exactly. So what would you prefer, the army or the police?
I would prefer the army.
What for?
Because the army is the only people in Liberia. The only institution, Ministry of Defense, is the only institution in Liberia that Liberian people are afraid of. The reason is simple. The army is in the barracks. You guys are not outside every day. The reason why the police will compromise, even when they catch you without face mask, it is because everywhere you call Liberian policemen, the concern is to collect money.
Hello? All right.
Hello.
Yeah, let's hear from this other person. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mateo.
Good afternoon, Mr. Harris.
Yeah, thank you for the Harris.
Mr. Harris, what would you prefer, the army or the police, making sure that people adhere to the preventive measures?
Mateo, I think I would prefer we Liberians to abide by all the health protocols.
Okay.
Because if we say we should bring the military on the street, I think you need a budgetary allocation for that. You need money for that. So I think we Liberians should abide by all the health protocols and allow the police to do their job. So Mateo, I don't want to weigh in on something.
Go ahead.
Please, I beg you.
Go ahead.
I have a friend about Ellis Tamba. A star who friend lives in my charity. They one Saturday he called me that you are not well, you are feeling cool, it's in your heart. I was saying, and then I was saying, I said, they get to the nearest hospital or clinic. And then he decided to drive to the John F. Kennedy Medical Center. And he got there, he has seen the road nurses that you are not well, I was saying, he's feeling cool, it's in heart. And then when he got from those nurses that you can see people sitting all in the chairs and no bed. So we don't know if you can sit down outside there in one of those chairs, we'll see what to do. So the question is, Mateo, what if you come down with the coronavirus and then you go to the medical facility and then they tell you down, you go back in the community? Don't you think you get moved with affected? Or what if you have common malaria or cold and then you get to the drug clinic and no one testing people there? So Mateo, I think in my mind, I want for national government to sell a scheme to every clinic or hospital. And when you get there with any kind of illness, they test you to get why you can't have coronavirus or malaria or staph. Thank you, the afternoon.
Thanks for the contribution on the program as well. My producers keep taking calls. I want to end my thought. Anyway, let's hear from this other person. Hello.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Hello, Matthias.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you.
Yeah, Matthias, just to add to the discussion.
What's your name?
This is Joshua T.K. Williams, and I'm calling from Street.
Go ahead, sir.
Just to add to the discussion, I would prefer the AFL. The reason is the AFL, they will not compromise. If you look on Broad Street, all the police people, if they arrest any certain driver, even if you get lucky, you will get a small day. So when you put police on the street, I will bring 30 men upstairs, matter arrest all we get a small day, we say fast. You understand? The issue of health should be very important. Let's look at yesterday, day before yesterday, when the Monrovia City mayor went to Gorbachev Market. Did you saw the video?
Yeah.
Government officials should be there to follow the health protocol. They say we should be a certain distance from each other, right? Oh, you saw the video, you saw the old man all around the mayor.
But even today is happening now. So I just made mention of something that I want to talk about also on the program, that I want to commend Mayor Jefferson Koji for embarking on this cleanup exercise. It's a bit late, but it's necessary because we cannot fight coronavirus in an untidy city. But the overcrowdedness of people around here is something very concerning.
And let me also appreciate him, even though it is belated. Let me be honest. These are our major priorities. We press our mouth every day. The place should be clean every day. It can be 2 times a year. This is a 2 times a year project. Let me real. That's 2 times a year, July and December. That the only time the state government do massive cleaning up campaign. It is not right. It's unfair. Broad Street, the grass is growing. You bring the tapia bar as usual to come brush it. Okay.
All right, Joshua. Joshua, thank you. Yes, that is Joshua just put that thing from my mouth, right? I just want to say something to the city government. Mayor Jefferson, heard about Mayor Jefferson Koji. But yes, you guys have embarked on it. So the last time we reported some of your supporters, people need to know what to criticize and what to not criticize. When journalists go to highlight the dirty look of the city, some of you who are supporters of the government or whoever in charge of that particular place, you get angry, you blast. There's a particular young fellow whose name I'm not going to mention. He kept on coming after me like I was, reporting the wrong thing. There is Mayor Jefferson Koji now doing a cleanup exercise. Like Joshua said, it should not be a periodic thing. It should be a regular thing, right? So do we need to now put something on the radio where we recommend that Millbrook gets back to the Monrovia City Corporation? Because at her age, despite the energy probably that she didn't have, many people said she didn't have that energy. She's already aging. But a woman of that age was keeping our city clean, but a young man is mayor of the city, but the city is dirty. It's good that he's realized that the cleanup exercise needs to go on, but is it a season, cleanup exercise like Joshua Poli, or is something that's going to be maintained? Down water side is dirty. Right before Finance Ministry, opposite Finance Ministry, on the central link. If you just cross here, come to Sky right now, stand on Broad Street, you're going to see what I'm talking about. There is still stockpiles of garbage everywhere on this particular street. You'll see that people bring garbage from their bureau homes and dump those things, basically the garbage directly on the street. All right. So if these things happen, what do you think is going to happen? It means that we're going to keep the city dirty. And citizens' responsibility. That's what we say to you people. Do something, right? Do something. Maintain certain basic education in our schools. You communicators, we need to do something different. Let's do things differently every time. So a lot of people are now questioning even the cleanup exercise. There's this person who's saying Gorbachev Market would be a good project for me. Is it Mary, bro, that made this comment on a live feed? What she was basically following Jefferson Koji said, Gorbachev Market would be a good project for me. Give me 1 week. I will ring fence that filthy place. Shut it down. Go from house to house. Clean the alleyways. A primary waste collection. you will see a very clean community. This is Mary Taino Bro commenting on a live feed while Mayor Jefferson Koji. Okay, this is basically a long time thing, right? It's not recent something, a long time thing she's commenting on that gave me this place. I'm going to make sure I ring fence it and all of that. So while these things are ongoing, people look at that, well, what's going on? I think Mayor Jefferson Koji saw it, and the Omar too, the way the Omar looking at Warasa and Kubacho market, step up. Jefferson Koji, well, in as much as I'm congratulating him as a young man, but he's not basically cleaning up right now based on the fact that he is executing his responsibility. People should not act because people have talked. You talk, but guys, what happened yesterday? You're not on the show. Today you're not on the show. Then I feel guilty. I wrong and get on the radio. If I have a responsibility, I should execute it. The responsibility of Jefferson Koji, where you can get out there, negotiate with other friendly cities and bring support. But it's not just about him wearing bow tie and moving around in Chinese coat suit or whatever. Sorry to mention a particular country, right? Some expensive coat suit and moving around. If you say these things, people say, well, these guys are generational envy individuals. If a young man gets on here, he has a job. And we young people try to sing praise around that person. We don't question that person. We don't challenge that person to do the right thing. What's going to happen next is that person is going to feel relaxed that, well, I have done something. Why should I even, waste my time? Because I've succeeded. Let's talk to this last person on the line. Good afternoon. Hello. Good afternoon. All right, that person left the line. Let me read this comment from Musu Kopo. Musu says, sir, the reasons many Liberians do not respect health guidelines is because the police and health authorities are not fully implementing health guidelines and laws. In London and New York, when businesses break COVID-19 guidelines, they are fined and shut down. That's what the government is doing here too, Musu. The government has announced that. If some businesses continue to violate health guidelines, those businesses, especially nightclub, restaurants, etc., lost their liquor license. No business at any time lost that. They know what it takes to get liquor license. Citizens and residents should be fined and make use of the program. You are truly, you're really playing your role as journalists in the society. Thank you. John Tipede, that Omar doesn't take nonsense. But our legislators will play politics with our actions. That's right. Even those in government, supporters of government all believe that, yes, some of them that were this thing, Mirabro is the right person that can take care of this particular city and keep it very tidy for us. We don't have to wake up every day and see a dirty city. People who are supporters of the government, or some of them also think that, well, there's no need for us to have Mayor Jefferson Koji as mayor of the city when we need someone vibrant, someone proactive to keep the city clean. You cannot fight sickness in a dirty environment. But the question that came with this afternoon program, after giving you some basic information I provided, was that whether you would prefer the army over the police, or which group of people would you prefer, the army or the police? Many of you chose the army. Monday, let me say tomorrow morning we'll come back. We're going to ask you the same question in the first segment. That's just going to be exclusive to that, and we're going to ask you whether you prefer which group. And you tell us that. Government is going to take some recommendations and act on them. My name is Matthias Labindi.